Oh man, this is gonna be a wild ride. I'm like a little hysterical right now. I think I'm crying again. It's fine. Guys, I've never been a pretty crier, so that's happening. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back or to the Roomies Digest. My name's Christine and in today's video we are going to be doing another book talk. So if you've been following this series, you know that I have read the entire ACOTAR series up until A Court of Silver Flames. And of course, if you clicked on that young link, you know that today we are talking about A Court of Silver Flames. All the emotions. I think I'm literally going to cry again. Bum bum da 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 bum bum da. In today's video, we are talking about the one and only A Court of Silver Flames, which is the 5th book in the ACOTAR series. A Court of Silver Flames follows Nesta, Feyre's sister, and her mental and physical fallout from A Court of Wings and Ruin, which we kind of get a glimpse of in A Court of Frost and Starlight, but there isn't too much talked about in that book because that was a tiny novella. So this book is so great because it follows the point of views of Nesta and Cassian. I don't know if you've kept up with this series, but these two people, I would die for them. I love these two so much, and this follows their journey as they are trying to navigate through their own set of mental health issues, also new conflicts that are arising in the fairy realm. So let's get into the details. This book rings in at 751 pages. Yes, everyone, that is the largest book in A Court of Thorns and Roses as a series. I think it's like 100 pages more than A Court of Wings and Ruin. Without giving too much of the plot away, Nesta is basically having a tough time because she is having some difficulties with what happened during the conflict, and she is just trying to navigate through that, and she is so lost. She doesn't know what to do, and that is what this whole entire book is about. A little bit of adventure, a little bit of action, but not too much. This book is very character driven, and we follow Nesta throughout. I actually really love this book because it has the point of views from Cassian and Nesta. I like the third person perspective. I think it's great because you get to be inside the minds of more than one person. I know you guys are wondering, of course, I gave this book a 5-star rating. 5-star. All day, baby. All day. And you want to know why? You open the page. I'm just going to read a little dedication to you all. And the dedication says, "For every Nesta out there, climb the mountain." Y'all, I'm gonna put up a real-time reaction of literally what happened when I was first reading this book. It's here, y'all. I'm reading it. I can't let Twitter ruin my life, okay? So if you don't hear from me in a couple of hours, you know what's happening. Wait, y'all, it's only been the dedication. I'm already tearing up. What's wrong with me? Look. Oh my God. Just the dedication. No.
What's happening?
It's not. These things can't be faked. That was real. So anyway, there are like so many things that I could say. Like, I really don't have anything written down about this book because I read it so slowly. 800 pages usually does not take me a long time. I'm not even kidding. I blow through books. I didn't realize I was a fast reader, but I took this journey so slow. I was like, I want to enjoy this. I am not going to write anything down while I'm reading it. I am not going to annotate, even though as soon as I finished this book, I wanted to pick it back up and reread it as if I don't have a life. And I think in the future I probably will annotate it at some point, but I know Monique is reading this series right now, so I definitely don't want to mark through anything because she's going to be using my books. So I'm going to wait and give her a chance to catch up before I do anything crazy. But this book, y'all, was so good. Like, this is the character and the relationship that I really love. Like, I am obsessed with Nessian. I love them so much. And I used to think I was a Feyre girl. Like, I used to be that person who like wants to be like the knight in shining armor, kind of like sacrifice yourself all the time from day one kind of character. Not that that's Feyre. And I realize I am literally a Nesta. We are all a Nesta. Nesta is the most relatable character I think I've ever read in my whole entire life. in a fantasy novel. She just goes through some stuff, and the way she deals with her hurt is like such a human and normal reaction. I feel as though I have reacted the way she reacts. Like, it's just crazy. It's just so freaking good. And another part of this novel, of course, this is the first adult fantasy, so that means there's gonna be some language. That means there's gonna be some violence. That means there's going to be some sexual relations that we all have been literally waiting for our entire lives. Y'all, some steamy moments happen in this book, and I'm not talking like 1 or 2 times. I'm talking like interspersed throughout the whole entire book. It's just beautiful. And I will say that when I was reading A Court of Wings of Ruin, I mentioned that the pacing was so good in that book. Like, that was probably the best paced book in the series. And I have to say that this book is paced well, but it's not as well paced as A Court of Wings and Ruin. We kind of just had a very fine focus on Nesta, and then a couple of action-y moments that kind of moved the plot of this world along a little bit, but it wasn't necessarily centered on that. I also think that the ending conflict of this book was a little bit random and kind of came out of nowhere. And as I was reading it, I was kind of like, okay, why are you putting me through this? Why are you putting me through this? I was actually nervous. I thought some things were gonna happen, and I was worried, guys. I was really worried. Really, up until the last page was like, when will my love be ruined? Like, when will my happiness be taken away? But other than that, I am still sticking with the fact that if you love Nesta and Cassian, you need to read this book. But especially if you love Nesta. Like, if Nesta calls to you and Nesta is your girl, like Nesta is someone that you can relate to, you guys need to read this book. It is literally so good. And of course, I have to mention all of the other characters that are in this book, but you know, does Feyre get any less annoying? No. Sarah J. Maas definitely leaves you hanging and guessing the whole entire time through this book. There are things you have questions about, you know what I mean? Because by this point, we all know about the tether that kind of tie people together, but you have questions about that, and you're like, okay, who is with who? I need to know. And you literally don't know until the end of this book. And then also questions about Asriel. I'm like, will he ever find someone? Will we ever know about that? And I kind of got an inkling of somebody in this book that may be perfect for him, but I don't know. I mean, we're just not gonna know until we get the next book. So anyway, sorry y'all, I'm like kind of all over the place, but I'm still honestly trying to get my thoughts around this book. I want to say you don't even need to read the other books to get into this book, but you probably do need to read the other book. But this book honestly stands alone, like as a different whole entire thing from the other 3 ACOTAR books, in my opinion. The character arcs of not only Nesta, but a bunch of different characters are literally awesome. This book also has themes, of course, the friends to family trope, and also this kind of theme of, I don't want to say feminism, but this theme of, I don't know, it's definitely like women lifting other women up in this. That is definitely a theme in this, and I really love that. As we all know, it is really well written and sucks you into the story almost immediately. The settings in this one weren't as grand and crazy just because they kind of stay in the same place. There is a part in the middle of the book where we kind of see this other land, and I really enjoyed that part. Like, I thought it was so fun how Sarah J. Maas kind of intertwined the Celtic lore and the fairy legends and things like that into her story. I've mentioned this before on this channel, but we all know that Sarah J. Maas kind of takes from that Celtic mythology, that Celtic lore, and there are definitely hints of that in this, as well as, if you guys have ever heard of like the Valkyrie, that's like a new people that are mentioned in this book that are really cool, as well as I would say fairy legends, like fairy monsters. The Kelpie, we have mention of the Wild Hunt, Pegasus, which isn't necessarily the Celtic lore, but it goes in with the mythology theme that Sarah J. Maas likes to pull from. So there are a lot of different influences for this book. She kind of, like I have said before, has a patchwork of different mythology references, but it's a fun time for sure. And we also get the beginnings of a new problem to be solved in the Fae realm. But of course the focus is going to be mostly on Nesta and her journey as she's trying to deal with herself and her feelings and her powers and things like that. I know I kind of brushed over the smut in this one, but there is some definite smut in here. If you are wondering whether or not you'll like this book, first of all, it is like smut city. So if you're not into that, please, this is an adult fantasy. There are some things happening that you might be uncomfortable with, and there are a lot of those moments. You probably also need to look up the trigger warnings for this because there is mention of sexual assault as well as cussing. I'm not sure if that bothers you, but if it does, then you definitely need to be aware of that going into this book. But if you are an adult fantasy reader, or if you want to get into adult fantasy and you want a soft start, as in you don't want to start with Game of Thrones, you want to start with something a little softer, then this is the perfect book for you. Like I said, it does not have a ton of action throughout, but if you are focused on that Nesta Cassian relationship, that Nesta character arc, like if that is your baby and you love it so much, then this is definitely the book for you, and I highly, highly, highly recommend. It is such a fun ride and I really enjoyed it, and honestly, I think I'm about to reread it like right now. This book is addictive, it's clever, I laughed, I cried, crying at the dedication. This is definitely one of my new favorite books and a prized possession of mine. So like I've said this whole time, I highly recommend if you are looking to continue into the ACOTAR series or to get into adult fantasy, this is definitely a level up in the ACOTAR series. I really enjoyed it. It was a great ride. I highly recommend it for you adult fantasy lovers and ACOTAR stans. Me thinking about reading it again. Comment down below if you've read A Court of Silver Flames, or if you are going to read A Court of Silver Flames, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, like did you like the third person perspective? You know, are you more of like a Feyre instead of Nesta? Like what do you like? What was your favorite part? Oh my god, actually don't say the favorite part one. Okay, because we're trying to keep it spoiler free. We are trying to keep it spoiler free. But feel free to DM me on Instagram and we can talk about it, because y'all, I was literally squealing about this book. I say that every video, but I was like, I had to stop reading and go into Monique's room, sit on her bed and just like twiddle my thumbs. And she'd be like, "Are you okay?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm not okay." Just all the feelings. It was a really nice ride. All right, guys. So as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up for me. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to support me and Monique, and turn on that notification bell if you want to see more videos from us. Also, please let us know down below what books you want us to talk about in the future, because of course it's only me today, but in the future, Monique will also be doing book talks. So if there is a book that you really, really, really want us to talk about, spoiler free or not, then let us know down below. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. We are gonna wrap it up. I hope you guys really enjoy A Court of Silver Flames. I definitely did. Definitely. I will see you guys in the next video.